Hi, and welcome to today's video. I'm Mary Felling, physical therapist, and today I'm going to be showing you a great technique to help relieve pain and dysfunction in the sacrum, the pelvic floor, and the hip. And not just for women, but for men too. This is also great if you've had sciatica or still suffering with sciatica, low back pain, or hip pain. If you are somebody who has had surgery in the last 12 weeks, anywhere in your low back, hip, pelvic floor area, this is not for you. You want to get permission from your surgeon before you continue. Also, if you're a new mom, less than 8 weeks postpartum, hold off till your OB gives you some permission to go ahead with this technique. This technique I'm about to show you is the brainchild of my friend and colleague, Joyce Karins, physical therapist. She's also a JFB, Myofascial Release practitioner, and has been doing this at the expert level for years and years. All right, let's get started. All right, so you're going to need a tool, a soft tissue mobilization tool is what we call them, but if you have a washcloth that you can knot up, you can use that. If you've got a therapy ball, these are called TheraBalls. You can see I've got one really squishy, one really hard. You need one of these two to begin with. I'm going to be showing you how to do this technique on a bench just because I think you'll get a better visual advantage. But at home, you can do this on an exercise mat, your floor. If you're really painful when you first start this, then you might want to do this sitting on your bed or sitting on a very soft couch. Everybody's going to be different, so you kind of got to figure out what's right for you, but I will walk you through that. I'm going to be using this. So the knotted up washcloth is as much as my pain levels will allow me, just because I do have some issues there, and this would be too hard. We're going to be in the position 5 minutes, so I could probably do the squishy ball for about 2 minutes, but then it gets a little too sore for me. I do know that I can use this washcloth. So for some of you, maybe you're at a couch and you're going to sit on that. You probably would find that even if you're sore, you could still do something firmer than the washcloth. You might be able to do something like the squishy ball. So depending on what surface you're sitting on and depending on what tool you're using, you'll find the one that you sit on makes you feel comfortable, but you're also feeling some discomfort. That's just when doing myofascial releases, you will have that. So if you're sitting and you feel absolutely no pain and you're happy, you're probably needing to get something a little bit more firmer under you, or you need a firmer surface to sit on. So as I said, I'm going to be using the cloth. So I'm going to get rid of those two little TheraBalls. So you take your take your tool, and it's going to go underneath you right between the sit bones. The sit bones are those bony parts of your rear end. When you sit down, they call people, you know, my goodness, you have a bony butt. Those are the bones you're going to put your object between. And so when you put it between there, when you sit, what it's helping is to open up the pelvic floor, the space between those two sit bones. You're too far forward for women, if you feel this on your vulva, and you're too far back if you're feeling tenderness against your tailbone, or if you feel you're on your tailbone. So you want to be between those two areas. And for men, when you're sitting down, it's the same thing. You want to keep that tool that you're using between your two sit bones. If you're too far back, you're going to feel some rectal pressure, so move it forward. And you'll definitely know if you're too far forward, and obviously just move that back a little bit so you are between the two sit bones. All right, so you can see what I look like from the front. I'm just going to turn around and show you from the back. But I'm going to use a ball just because I think you'll have a better view than the flat little washcloth. So what's happening, I'm just going to turn around. So this is right between those two sit bones. And I'm really relaxing my body down. I'm keeping my spine straight. I'm softening. And as I sit here, I even can feel a little bit of an opening. And it's just very small, but that's kind of what you want. If you don't feel an opening, don't worry. You're not doing it wrong. You're just tight there. All right, so I'm going to turn around because I want to continue giving you instruction as we go through this. And so we're going to start our timer. Get your object that you're going to use. Like I said, I'm just using a little knotted up washcloth. I'm going to put that underneath, right between those sit bones. And we're starting our clock. We'll move back a little. So if I were really tender with the washcloth on something firm like this, I'd go over to a couch or sit on my bed on a soft mattress. If you put the washcloth under you and you're on the floor and you think, I don't really feel anything, then you need a soft tissue tool that's a little bit more firm. So you could use a squishy ball. You could use like a dog's chew toy. A tennis ball would be very hard. That would just be for those of you who are having very little or no symptoms, but want to continue to increase and keep that good mobility in the hips. So one of the things this does do is it does give nicer mobility to the hip joints. It opens up the pelvic floor. A lot of us have so much myofascial restriction accumulation through the years through the pelvic floor that adds to back pain, hip pain, and pelvic floor dysfunction. This is why this is so good. All right, so we're into our second minute. We just finished the first one. So in the John Barnes myofascial release techniques, we use compressive or elongation. Those are mechanical energies. And when you put a mechanical energy into the human body, after 5 minutes, it elicits this thing called the piezoelectric effect. It's a very fancy word. It just means the bioelectric flow. So at the end of 5 minutes, this bioelectric flow starts moving through the fascia. The fascia is the big cobweb in our body. It runs from the bottom of your feet to the top of the head, from the front of the body to the back, side to side. And it surrounds, it infuses every structure in our body. So our muscles, tendons, ligaments, nerves, organs, blood vessels, all of the structures in our body has a sinewy cobweb through and around it. It's made from one strand of material. So just like my grandmother could knit a sweater, so we're after our 2 minutes now, we're in our third minute. She could knit a sweater for me from one skein of yarn. That whole sweater would be connected by that one strand. In our body, it's the same with the fascia. So if my shirt here were the fascia through my chest and trunk, if I caught or snagged my sweater, you can see how it would create tension through other parts of the sweater. It's the same in our body. When we have injury from overuse, repetitive use, or stress, we're just anxious all the time, it causes fascia to bind down and tighten and get glued down. And that area can produce up to 2,000 pounds of force per square inch. That's a lot of crushing pressure on those pain-sensitive structures because muscles, nerves, ligaments, everything are pain-sensitive. So using this mechanical energy for 5+ minutes starts this electrical flow. And when we get this, as the electrical flow moves through the fascia and gets to those areas of restriction, what we call a myofascial restriction, it rehydrates it, so it unglues it, elongates and softens it. So now there's less pain on all those structures it's lying within. It has more mobility, and that's exactly what we're doing this for. Helping to open up the pelvic floor, helping to relieve muscular tension around the sciatic nerve that's causing that nerve pain down the back of the leg, helping the hip open up so you get better movement at your hip, and we all need that. Everybody needs better hip movement. That's the one area besides the low back that seems to tighten as we age. So the nice thing about this technique, you can do it anywhere. You can be at your office sitting, you can be a passenger princess, you can be watching TV and get this done. It's so easy, you can't not do it. All right, so we just finished up 3-4 minutes. So while you're in this position, what you're feeling for is softening. You're feeling for a myofascial release. And those feel like, hey, there's less pain here. It's softer. I feel like I'm further down over whatever soft tissue mobilization tool you're using. You might feel like, I feel like I've sunk down. I feel like my tailbone, or excuse me, those two sit bones a little further apart. You might feel a sense of taffy stretching or butter melting, or you might even go, oh, I feel more calm. That's a great sign of a myofascial release. You might feel warmth in the area. You're getting more blood in there. Maybe restrictions through the small capillaries have been so tight you haven't been able to have good blood flow there. All right, so we're coming down to that 5 minutes. I'm going to stop at 5 minutes, but I encourage you to go to 7 or 8 minutes if you're able, just because after 5 minutes and at 8 minutes, there's something else that happens besides you continue to get more and more releasing. At 8 minutes, also, there is interleukin 8. It's just a chemical that's released in the body when an area's had mechanical energy for 8 minutes or more. And interleukin 8 is our natural anti-inflammatory. So not only now are you getting release and pressure release on pain-sensitive structures, you're also getting help from nature's ibuprofen that you've made yourself. All right, thank you so much for joining me today. I do want to remind you that once you start one of these techniques, so this, for example, today's technique, do that for 14 days in a row without interruption. And as I said, minimum of 5 minutes, because that's where we start affecting the fascia. Minimum of 5 minutes, and you can stay there as long as you please. After 14 days in a row, then you can step back and just do it twice a week or 3 times a week. You'll still get different changes, but you'll help maintain the positive changes you got in those first 14 days. Thanks for joining me again today, everyone. And I invite you to subscribe to my channel. You will be notified as new videos come out so you can continue taking care of yourself and living that pain-free lifestyle we all deserve. I'll see you in the next video.